The PPPC's 2022 national budget fails to bridge the widening gulf between the legitimate expectations of average Guyanese and their daily lives.
The criticisms expressed by the General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform, Geeta Chandan-Edmond, during a virtual press conference on Friday. The $552.9 billion budget, which was presented to the House on Wednesday by Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, while being praised by a certain section of the Guyanese society, continues to be viewed with disdain by members on the other side. Just Thursday, Nightly News was told by AP New AFC members of Parliament, Doretta Fernandez and Ganesh Maipal, that the budget is proof that the PPPC government is failing. More so, it was also conveyed that the budget would have been less were it not for the use of the country's oil revenues. It is important to note that all the country's existing oil revenues, totaling $126.7 billion Guyana dollars, was used in budget 2022. Against this backdrop, the leaders in the PNCR camp also agree that the budget is hopeless and is a failure to the people, even though the government is touting it to be a people budget.
How can it be that the fastest growing economy in the world, the tax threshold, has only increased from 65,000 to 75,000? This is only possible if you do not care for the poor and the vulnerable.
The PNCR is calling on the PPPC government to put more money in the purses and pockets of the working class and struggling families by increasing the income tax threshold to $125,000. Further, the party is demanding answers for what it deems to be a mediocre allocation to the University of Guyana.
How can a government be serious about economic development and local content and yet freeze the budget of UG? The government must also honor its promise to provide free education at the University of Guyana.
She also chastised the government over its budgetary allocation for small and medium-sized businesses. That sector is poised to benefit from a $300 million allocation. However, it is $29 million less than what was allocated in the 2021 budget. To this end, she questioned the rationale behind the decrease while citing that an oil-rich country should not have to lessen budgetary allocations. Meanwhile, economist and political strategist Elson Low, in sharing his views on the budget, opined that a people-centered budget must be based in a comprehensive national plan, one that is not present in Budget 2022. In fact, other pertinent aspects of a people-centered budget were completely omitted, he conveyed.
The PPPC has avoided telling us when, for example, it plans to eliminate poverty, provide full employment, and eliminate child hunger and malnutrition from our midst. PPPC incompetence makes them incapable of delivering a better life to the people of Guyana.
Prior to the presentation of the budget, two press conferences were held by the PNCR, both of which focused on Budget 2022. To this end, several recommendations were put forward by the leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton, which he believed would have significantly addressed the negative consequences of high cost of living. And while Budget 2022 is speculated to be the answer to the pressing cost of living woes, it did not include any recommendations from Norton. Chief among the things called for by Norton was a raise in public servant salary by a minimum of 25%. However, there were no salary increases announced for public servants in this budget. A salary increase for public servants was also not announced in Budget 2021. Despite this, public servants were given a 7% increase at the end of the year. Some of the major increases announced in this year's budget include a raise in old age pension to $28,000, an increase in the Because We Care grant to $30,000, and an increase in the public assistance to $14,000. Additionally, the excise tax on gasoline and diesel were also decreased from 20% to 10%. For the HGP Nightly News, Kendell Richmond.